Hello everyone, welcome to our discussion in research methodology. Today we are going to see the other modes of research communication or science communication, and we are going to discuss about 7 different types. The first one is assignment, followed by what are seminars, debate, workshops, colloquium, conference, symposia, etc. So each one has its own differences, so we'll see one by one. The first one is the assignment. So assignment is actually it is an institutional or an institutional type of communication. That is, it refers to the task which is assigned to students by their teachers to be completed outside the class. So assignment, as usually in every subject you have an assignment to be completed for a semester. So the teacher will give you the topic and you have to do the assignment. So now we are going to see how an assignment should be scientifically how an assignment should be written. So at an undergraduate level, a term paper or writing a short essay on a specific topic is a commonest type of assignment. So the main steps in writing the assignment are, or how you are going to write an assignment. The main steps which is to be followed when you write the assignments is, the first one is analyzing the question or defining the topic. That means you should analyze a topic which is to be presented or given by the teacher. Try to understand the topic, break it down into key terms, define the specific one, etc. The second step, what you are going to do is you start gathering the resources. That means you start gathering from where it should be written, like reference book, either from the websites, electronic sources, internet, lecture notes, or from the library books, from journals, articles, or by interviewing people, etc., or conducting surveys, whatever it is. Depending upon your assignment, you decide how to gather the information and evaluating the information found. So whatever the information you found, because if you search for an assignment topic and you find a whole book which relating to the assignment topic, you have to go to the book, evaluate it, and you have to decide which portion or which section from that book should be taken for your assignment. So in that case, review the introduction, the abstract of the articles to confirm their relevance to your topic. So you have to read whether that particular, sometimes only the heading might be related, whatever which is given inside might not count for your assignment. So you should read it thoroughly and know whether, or try to find whether that is suited for your particular assignment. So that is what evaluating the information. And next is planning the assignment. So in the assignment you have to, the teacher might give only you a heading, then you have to decide the subheadings to be included, what are the subheadings or main headings to be included, then how you are going to submit the assignment, either electronically as suggested by the teacher, or a written format, etc. So an outline of that should be made in mind, how you are going to write it. So that is what is called as the planning the assignment. Next is writing the first draft. So these are the steps that is to be followed by writing an assignment, but usually I think we do not follow such things. We go look at the text, just copy it and bring it as the assignment. So this is the normal or the exact way to write an assignment, how you should write an assignment actually in practical sense, or what students actually do in every institution is they refer some books, one book or the other, maximum is one book. Some may go to 1 or 3 books, etc., depending upon their interest, and they write it from there, just copy it down. But this is what we are discussing now is the way how to write it. So after you plan the subheadings, you are going to write a first draft. That means once you outline is done, you draft it. That means you have found the resources, etc. From those resources you have to fill in your subheadings, subheadings into it, which is called as a first draft. You put as many as information into this first draft. Document the sources of information, which is nothing but note down the references from where you have collected, etc. And next is the structure. So after writing the first draft, so first draft might be usually something called as a first draft might be a lengthier one than you expected, because you are just including all what you have gathered into this. That is what is called as a first draft. And after writing the first draft, you are going to structure your assignment, or you are going to gather everything, you are going to cut it short, and you are going to make it into an assignment. So in an assignment like a project report, it should have a title page where you have the title of the assignment, and at the bottom right side you write your name, your class, etc., and towards the left side you write to whom or to which teacher it is submitted, which department, etc. And the other things are similar. You have a table of contents. If you are having a subheading or subsections, you will have subsections because there is an introduction, body, conclusion, etc. So in the table of contents, all these should be written. And if the introduction is again broken down into subheadings, those subheadings should also be listed in the table of contents. After the introduction, you have the body where your assignment topic is detailed, which is followed by the conclusion and reference. So this is what is called as a structure of an assignment. So this is the one type of scientific communication or science communication, which is usually in an institutional level, or you can call it as an academic level of science communication. The first one was assignment. The second one is seminars, and it is derived from the word which is called as seminarium, which means a seed plot. So here a seminar means it is bringing together small groups for recurring meetings. So each time they will be focusing on a particular subject. So here everyone will actively participate in the meeting. A seminar usually tend to be held within one institution or university. So actually a seminar means it is mainly for academic purposes. Academic meetings are usually considered as a seminar. A student's version of a seminar is what you see, where in a class a person gets a seminar topic, he presents that particular seminar. So there is a small group which is his classmates and also the teacher, where they are discussing about a particular subject. So if you are having a zoology seminar, you will be discussing only about that particular subject, and it is mandatory in a seminar that everyone attending the meeting should be actively participating in it by asking questions, by asking clarifications, etc. So seminar is the one which is usually held within one institute or in a classroom, etc. So such small gatherings, which is an institutional level or an university level meetings to discuss about a particular subject, is usually referred to as a seminar. The next one is a debate. So debate is an interactive or a representational argument where there is a formal argument or discussion of a question. So two or more opposing speakers will be there. One will be talking in favor of that particular topic. The other person will be talking against that particular topic, and there will be a mediator who will be mediating the speakers. So if the speakers go beyond their limit, the mediator will intervene the other one, because in a formal debate competition, usually debates are in an academic perspective. Debates are usually held as competitions where a person will or a group will be talking in favor, and the other person or a group will be talking against for that particular topic, and there will be a mediator. So the mediator will be allotting the set time for each of the participant, whether the for or the against. So each of the person will have a chance, which is limited to a time frame, to present his perspective regarding that particular subject, whether it is for, against, and also he gets a chance to in these because usually debates are conducted in 2 rounds. In the first round, the person or both the persons, for and against, will have a chance to present his view regarding the topic. The person who is talking for the topic will discuss the points in favor of the topic. The other person will be discussing the points against the topic. In the second round, these two individuals will be questioning the opponent. That is, a for individual can question the other individual, and the person who talked against can also question the person to who talked in favor. And in most cases, the deciding factor whether the for or the against wins usually ends in a vote. The same pattern of debate is the one you can see in news channels from 8 o'clock. In every news channels you can see an 8 o'clock a debate hour. So that is what is called as a debate. The mediator will be the news anchor, or the channel anchor will be the mediator there, and there will be many representatives. Many will be talking against for related to a subject. The other will be talking against a subject. So that is also a form of debate which you now see in news channels. Next one is a workshop. So a workshop is a group of people who are working on a specific topic, discuss a topic, or studying a subject. They develop new idea or process through sharing of knowledge. So workshops are generally smaller than conferences and are usually only a day or a two long, and are dedicated to discuss a specific topic. So now you have more terms like this: workshop, conference, etc. So each is having its own individuality, or each is having its own uniqueness. So now we'll be discussing how one is different from the other. So the first one was seminar. We said that seminar is an institutional level meeting where a small group of people they interact with each other. A person will be presenting a particular topic, and others who are attending the meeting will be actively participating in it. So usually a seminar can be more academic, which is related to either an institution, which happens in an institutional level, or a university level. Okay, coming to workshop. So workshop is also a group of people who is discussing a particular topic. So in a workshop, the difference is that there will be hands-on trainings. Okay, in a workshop, either hands-on, whatever the subject may be. When we talk about science, in a workshop you get a chance to do hands-on training. So if it is a lab oriented workshop, you can work out the wet lab processes. If it is an computer oriented or a bioinformatics oriented workshop, there will be hands-on training with the with that particular subject on that particular subjects. So the main difference between a workshop and a seminar, conference, is that a conference is a smaller meeting, because as I said, in a workshop there will be hands-on trainings. When you conduct hands-on trainings, the number of participants should be limited. Okay, because the lab, depending upon the lab facilities, maximum accommodated can be 30, because for everyone you should provide every facility. So it will be usually limited to 30 in a workshop. So that's why it is called as smaller than a conference, and usually it will be a day or a two, depending upon the topic. So coming to the next one, a conference. So a conference is a meeting of people to exchange opinion about a topic. So a conference, workshop and seminar is strictly academic. A conference need not be academic. It can be an academic conference or a non-academic conference. An academic conference is the one where researchers present and discuss their work. A non-academic conference is the one where there is, for example, the bankers conference will be there, then businessmen conference will be there. So such conferences are non-academic. So they will be discussing if it is a company's a conference, so they will be discussing the company's profit loss of the year, the annual profit of the year, etc. So that does not have any sense of any relation to the academic one. That's why we say that a conference can be academic and or non-academic. If it is an academic conference, researchers will be presenting their topic and discussing the meet. A conference will be a very larger meeting where many people or hundreds or thousands of people will be participating in a conference. So a smaller set of meeting is usually called as workshops, as we said earlier. And conferences can be either a single track conference or a multi-track conference, in the sense that in some conferences there will be subsections. Okay, that means at the same time, that means if you take a particular example, if there is a conference which is related to biodiversity. Okay, a conference which is going which is going on with biodiversity. So biodiversity can be of terrestrial biodiversity, ocean biodiversity, freshwater biodiversity, etc. So you can split again biodiversity into many forms, and in such a conference you will be having a smaller group conferences or sessions at different locations. Okay, so the venue will be a large venue like an auditorium, and that will be again divided into subsections like ocean biodiversity. Then you will have something which is called as terrestrial biodiversity, forest biodiversity, desert, etc. So those persons or those researchers who are interested or working in ocean biodiversity will be attending that particular group conference. The other one who is interested in who is working in desert biodiversity will be meeting in that particular area. So such conferences, which is called as a multi-track conferences, also happen. So in both the cases, the number of participants who come to attend the conference will be very large. And usually in scientific or an academic conferences, researchers either have an oral presentation where they orally present their work, or if the conference is having a huge number of participants, say 1,000 participants, what they do is that they make the presentation, because oral presentation will not be feasible in such cases. If the conference is either for 3 or 5 day conference, in such cases also what happens is that apart from for oral presentations, that will be replaced by poster sessions. That means researchers will print a poster and they will be making everything. It will be same as your oral presentation. It will have an introduction, it will have a methodology, what result, etc. Everything will be given, and the person will be standing in front of that poster. So those interested in that particular topic can move on to that particular poster, ask questions to him, ask suggestions, how he has done, etc. can be done. So that is the way the conferences usually go. So conferences can usually last between a few days to a week. So that is the main difference between conferences, workshops and seminars. Next, moving on to what is a colloquium. So a colloquium is usually of an academic nature with one common academic theme. The presenters at the colloquium present papers and then analyze and discuss the particular topic. So a colloquium can be made similar to what is called as an seminar. So it is of an academic nature with one common theme. The presenters at the colloquium present papers and then analyze and discuss that particular topic. So there is no much difference between a seminar and a colloquium. They are more or less the same. Coming to symposium or a symposia, it tends to be similar to a conference, but it is much smaller. So it is more or less similar to a workshop. A symposium tend to focus on a particular issue rather than a general theme. So the main difference between a symposium and a workshop will be that, as I said earlier, in a workshop you definitely there will be hands-on training sessions. But in a symposia, those hands-on training sessions will be absent. So similar to a conference, in that focus is on for a symposia is on presentations and lectures, and less hands-on than workshop. So there will be more presentations, lectures, etc. So a symposia usually lasts only for a day. So symposia may be more prestigious than a conference with emphasis on experts, because in a symposia is completely an academic or a research oriented one, where you invite only the experts in the panel. Those experts which are present either nationally or internationally will be present for the meeting. So it may be more prestigious. That's why it said that it is more prestigious than a conference, with an emphasis on experts presenting their work and occasionally discussing it afterwards. So these are the 7 different other types of scientific communications. We discussed about symposia, then we discussed about colloquium, conference, workshop, seminar, debate, and assignment. So that's all with this scientific communication. So we have come to the end of the different types of scientific or research communication. So with this, we come to the end of this particular session. Thanks for hearing.